But Ashtarashatashmat Shila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Shila Gurudev Ki Jai. Nitil Pavishtam Vishnupad Ashtarashatashmat Shila Bhaktivedanta Vaman Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Nitil Pavishtam Vishnupad Ashtarashatashmat Shila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Shila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nitil Pavishtam Vishnupad Ashtarashatashmat Shila Bhakti Vigyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Nitil Pavishtam Vishnupad Ashtarashatashmat Shila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nitil Pavishtam Shila Goksharas Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Nitil Pavishtam Shila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai. Nitil Pavishtam Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Shila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Rupanu Gauriya Guru Varga Ki Jai. Shri Rup Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jeev Gopal Patadash Raghunath Shar Gosai Prabhu Ki Jai. Shri Swarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Shri Gopal Shad Vrind Ki Jai. Nama Chai Shalai Ras Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaur Bhakta Vrind Ki Jai. Shri Kshetra Mandal Gaur Mandal Braja Mandal Mathura Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Sarva Abhishta Bhadati Giri Raj Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Radha Kunda Shama Kund Ki Jai. Shri Mona Devi Ganga Devi Ki Jai. Shri Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Shri Purnamasi Yoga Maya Ki Jai. Shri Gopeshwar Mahadev Ki Jai. Shri Hari Nam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai. Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Gaur. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Śrīmad-Bhakti Vedanta Narayana Namine. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratishe Namaha. Guruve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tarbhaktaya Namo Namaha. Yam Pravrajantam Anupetam Apeta Krityam Tvaipayano Viraha Katara Ajuhava Putreti Tanmayataya Taravo Bhinedu Stam Sarvabhuta Hridaya Munimanatosmi Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet Shrinvatang Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hridantasto Yabhadrani Vidunoti Suritsatam Nashta Prayeshvabhadreshu Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya Bhagavatuttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki Tavai Vasmi Najivami Tvaya Vina Iti Vigyaya Radhe Tvam Nayamam Charanantikam Bhaktya Vihina Aparada Lakshai Kshiptashtakama Ditaranga Madhye Kripa Maitam Sharanam Prapanna Vrinde Namaste Charanarvindam Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Dandavat Pranams, Raseshwari Mataji, Indira Mataji, Rup Manjari Didi. Okay, good. Have a safe journey, Rup Manjari. And Dandavat Pranams Prajumna Prabhu, Madhavi Didi, Gargaraj Prabhu, And I don't know who this Facebook user is who's watching on Gaudiya Kirtan Live. Dandavat Pranams. And sorry again, I'm late. I went to sleep I couldn't sleep last night actually. But today, okay. So in the beginning of this chapter, we read about Vijitashva's progeny and his renunciation. Vijitashva was the son of Prithu Maharaj, and he was almost the same like his father. And he gave birth to, from him came Havirdhana, and then Prachina Barhi, and then Prachina Barhi, from him came the Pachetas, the 10 Pachetas. And so then Vidura, he asks about the meeting of Lord Shiva and the Pachetas. And then there's then Maitreya explains, that he gives a description of the lake where the Pachetas went to perform austerities, beautiful description. Then Shiva arrived, explained his inclination towards Lord Vasudev's devotees, and said that he will teach them an auspicious mantra. So then we began that yesterday, the Rudra-gīta. Let me find it. So this is Rudra-gīta, obeisances to the Lord in the form of the Chaturvyuha and the presiding deities of the elements for self-purification. Okay, so first Lord Shiva, he said the Lord's. Okay, so we're going to go through. Explains the Lord's quality, then the purpose of the prayer. No. So yeah, we'll read about the deity of what, the presiding deity of what thing, and then the function of the deity, and then the purpose of the prayer. So first, you are the best of the self-realized, since you are always auspicious for the self-realized. Let me also have that auspicious condition. Swastir astu me. You are worshipable by virtue of the all-perfect instructions you give. Let me have perfection by worshipping you. So, Vasudeva is the deity of consciousness, and his function is that he is the controller of the senses and sense objects. The purpose of the prayer: please make my chitta peaceful and unchanging, and make it conscious of bhakti by revealing your beauty. Then the master of integration, okay, never mind. God, this is confusing. Anyways, Sankoshan is the master of integration and disintegration, right? Anyhow, so he is the deity of false ego, Sankarshan, and he is the master of disintegration, his function is that he is the master of disintegration, or the destroyer of the universe. পরে আসবে ঠিক আছে ঠিক আছে and then the purpose of the prayer says, binds my possessiveness to the Lord and my ego, true to my identity as a devotee. Sorry about that. Then Pradyumna is the deity of intelligence, and his function is that he is the enlightener of the universe. Please wake up my intelligence so that it will situate me in bhakti. And Aniruddha is the supreme director. He is the deity of the mind. And his function is that he is the director of the mind, which is the chief of the senses. Please attract my mind to the Lord's lotus feet through bhakti alone, and keep it in the perfect state of cleanliness. Sorry, I'm a bit clunky like this. Link. After purifying the 4 components of the antakaran, the chitta, ahankar, buddhi, and manas, by worshipping their upasya deities, their worshipable deities, he offers respects to the Lord in the form of the presiding deities of the elements in 4 verses, in order to purify the 5 gross elements which constitute the body and the external senses. So first was consciousness, false ego, intelligence, and mind. He prayed to those, to presiding deities of them. Now, eye, speech, mind, taste. Okay. So he prays to Surya, Aniruddha's expansion, who is the presiding deity of the eye. Oops, sorry. And he constantly nourishes the jiva by rain, etc. The door to the heavens and liberation. May my eyes be purified to see the form of the Lord. And then praise to Agni, speech, who is the presiding deity of speech. And he accomplishes the actions of the 4 priests and expands the fire of sacrifice. Please engage my words in chanting the glories of the Lord. Link. Though the mind had already been purified by offering respects to its upasya deity for worship, Aniruddha, because the mind is difficult to control, he again purifies it by offering respects to the presiding deity of the moon, Soma. Soma, master of the 3 Vedas, or worlds. So Soma is the presiding deity of the mind, and he is the provider of the Pitri-lokas as well as all the demigods. Please purify my debts to the Pitas, Devatas, sages, and Jivas, and completely engage my mind in Bhakti. And Soma is also the presiding deity of taste. He is the giver of taste for the Jivas and for the form of all taste. Please make my tongue taste the sweetness of things related to the Lord. Let me not taste anything except prasad. Then he prays to Hiranyagarbha and the Virat Rup, the embodiment of the earth, who contains all souls of all living beings, contains the souls of all living beings and is the form of all the elements. He prays, stimulate my nose to smell the fragrance of the Lord. Engage my body and everyone's body, all senses, in the Lord's service. And then he prays to Vayu, the presiding deity of air, who protects the 3 worlds, who maintains the mind and senses and body. He prays, please enter the mind, senses, and body as Saha, Ojas, and Bala, and make them suitable for worshipping the Lord. Stimulate my touch to feel the softness of the Lord's body. Then he prays to Nabha, the ether, who is the presiding deity of sound, and who reveals the actual meaning of everything, supports everything internally and externally, and who is the ultimate goal of who is the ultimate goal of pious acts both in this world and beyond. He prays, please make my ears hear about the beauty of the Lord, reveal the meaning of the name, mantra, and bhakti scriptures, chanting Hare Krishna. Then he prays to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, giver of inspiration and all results, who is the presiding deity who is the instigator of dharmas, the giver of results of worshipping the Pitris, and the giver of results of irreligious acts. And he prays, I offer my respects to you. The list goes on. Who's also, so Krishna is also the giver of death and miseries, the topmost of benedictors, the supreme Manu, who's the perfection of all kinds of mantras, and the cause of all causes. Karanatmane. So he says, I offer my obeisances to you, Krishna. Then he prays to Lord Shiva. He's praying to himself, who is the false embodiment of the false, who is the presiding deity of the false ego, Ahankar. And Shiva, who is the reservoir of 3 kinds of energies, Adidaiva, Adhyatma, and Adigota, Devatas, senses, and elements, who is a source of egotism, Rudra, who is the form of knowledge and action, and the revealer of the Vedas. May the Lord's mercy purify false egotism so that real egotism can be awakened, Aham Brahmasmi, the spirit soul performing devotional activities. Link. Remembering in this way, purifying the body, senses, and minds by offering respects, Lord Shiva became qualified. Anyways, whatever. Now he prays to see the Lord, seeing and serving the Lord's glorious form. Okay, so that's where we are now. Oh my God, we're so late. How many words are we supposed to be reading today? We might not, because of my fault, I started late. We might not be able to read everything today. 5,900 words. We'll see. $44. Wait, I'm on the wrong chapter. Dang it. Really sorry about this, guys. I'll try to read a little bit fast today so that we can. Darshanam no dadrikshunam dehi bhagavatarchitam rupam. My screen's stuck. Oh God. Okay. Rupam priyatamam svanam sarvendriya kananjanam. My dear Lord, I wish to see you exactly in the form that your very dear devotees worship. You have many other forms, but I wish to see your form that is especially liked by the devotees. I wish to see your form that is especially liked by the devotees. Please be merciful upon me and show me that form, for only that form worshipped by the devotees can perfectly satisfy all the demands of the senses. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. In the Shruti or Veda mantra, it is said that the Supreme Absolute Truth is Sarva Kama, Sarva Gandha, Sarva Rasa, or in other words, he is known as Raso Vaisa, the source of all relishable relationships. We have various senses, the powers of seeing, tasting, smelling, touching, etc., and all the propensities of our senses can be satisfied when the senses are engaged in the service of the Lord. Hrishikena, Hrishikesha, Sevanam Bhaktir Uchute. Bhakti means engaging all the senses in the service of the master of the senses, Rishikesh. That's from Narad Pancharatra. These material senses, however, cannot be engaged in the service of the Lord. Therefore, one has to become free from all designations. Sarvapadi vinirmuktam tat paratrena nirmalam. One has to become free from all designation or false egotism, and thus become purified. When we engage our senses in the service of the Lord, the desires or inclinations of the senses can be perfectly fulfilled. Lord Shiva therefore wants to see the Lord in a form which is inconceivable to the Bodha philosophers or the Buddhists. The impersonalists and the voidists also have to see the form of the Absolute. In Buddhist temples, there are forms of the Lord of Buddha in meditation, but these are not worshipped like the forms of the Lord in Vaishnava temples, forms like Radha Krishna, Sitaram, or Lakshmi Narayan. Amongst the different sampradayas, the Vaishnava sects, either Radha Krishna or Lakshmi Narayan is worshipped. Lord Shiva wants to see that form perfectly, just as the devotees want to see it. The words Rupam Priyatamam Svanam are specifically mentioned here, indicating that Lord Shiva wants to see that form which is very dear to the devotees. The word Svanam is especially significant because only the devotees are very, very dear to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Gyanis, Yogis, and Karmis are not particularly dear, for the Karmis simply want to see the Supreme Personality of Godhead as their order supplier. The Gyanis want to see him to become one with him, and the Yogis want to see him partially represented within their heart as Paramatma. But the Bhaktas, or the devotees, they want to see him in his complete perfection. As stated in Brahma Samhita 530, Venum Kvanvandam aravinda dalaya taksham Bharhavatang samasitam buddha sundarangam Kandarpakoti kamaniya vishesha shobham Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who is adept at playing on his flute, whose eyes are like blooming lotus petals, whose head is bedecked with peacock feathers, whose beauty is tinged with the hue of blue clouds, and whose unique loveliness charms millions of cupids. Thus, Lord Shiva's desire is to see the Supreme Personality of Godhead as he is described in this way. That is, he wants to see him as he appears to the Bhagavats, the devotees. The conclusion is that Lord Shiva wants to see him in complete perfection and not in the impersonalist or voidist way. Although the Lord is one in his various forms, Advaitam, Achyutam, Anadam, still his form as the young enjoyer of the gopis and companion of the cowherd boys, his Kishore Murti, is the most perfect form. The Vaishnavas accept the form of the Lord in his Vrindavan pastimes as the chief form. There's a line missing here. Is the connection still going? Okay, that's so strange. My internet looks like it's not connected. Anyhow, I guess it is. Okay, let's find this verse, 45 to 46. Or do you mind not reading it? I have it right here in the book. Okay. Snigdha pravrid ganashamam sarva sundarya sangraham charvayata chaturbahu sujata ruchirananam. And this is what is missing. It says Parmakosha palashaksham. Okay, so Parmakosha palashaksham Sundara brusunasikam Sudvijam sukapolasyam Samakarna vibhushanam. The Lord's beauty resembles a dark cloud during the rainy season. As the rainfall glistens, his bodily features also glisten. Indeed, he is the sum total of all beauty. The Lord has 4 arms and is exquisitely an exquisitely beautiful face with eyes like lotus petals, a beautiful, highly raised nose, a mind-attracting smile, a beautiful forehead, and equally beautiful and fully decorated ears. Purport. After the scorching heat of the summer season, it is very pleasing to see dark clouds in the sky. As confirmed in Brahma Samhita, Bharhavatam samasitam buddhasundarangam. The Lord wears a peacock feather in his hair, and his bodily conception is just like a blackish cloud. The word sundar or snigdha means very pleasing. Kandarpa koti kamaniya. Krishna's beauty is so pleasing that not even millions upon millions of cupids can compare to it. The Lord's form as Vishnu is decorated in all opulence. Therefore, Lord Shiva is trying to see that most opulent form of Narayan or Vishnu. Generally, the worship of the Lord begins with the worship of Narayan or Vishnu, whereas the worship of Lord Krishna and Radha is most confidential. Lord Narayan is worshipable by the Pancharatric Vidhi, or regulative principles, whereas Lord Krishna is worshipable by the Bhagavat Vidhi. No one can worship the Lord in the Bhagavat Vidhi without going through the regulations of the Pancharatric Vidhi. Actually, neophyte devotees worship the Lord according to the Pancharatric Vidhi, or the regulative principles enjoined in the Narad Pancharatra. Okay, so I guess the neophyte devotees worship through the Pancharatric Vidhi, but not always through the Bhagavat Vidhi. But those who are worshipping the Bhagavat Vidhi must also worship in the Pancharatric Vidhi. Okay. Radha Krishna cannot be approached by neophyte devotees. Therefore, temple worship according to regulated principles is offered to Lakshmi Narayan. Although there may be a Radha Krishna Vigraha or form, the worship of neophyte devotees is acceptable as Lakshmi Narayan worship. Whoa, I've heard this before, but I'm happy to see Srila Prabhupada saying it here now. Like now it's confirmed that the worship in the temple, even though it's Radha Krishna deities, for us neophytes, or neophytes like me, we're actually just worshipping Lakshmi Narayan, not Radha Krishna. Worship according to the Pancharatta Vidi is called Vidhi Marg, and worship according to the Bhagavat Vidi principles is called Rag Marg. The principles of Rag Marg are especially meant for devotees who are elevated to the Vrindavan platform. Well, I'm going to share this on Facebook. What verse is this? Verse. Anyways, I'll do this later. Anyways. The principles of Rag Marg are especially meant for the inhabitants of Vrindavan, the gopis, Mother Yashoda, Nanda Maharaj, the cowherd boys, the cows, and everyone else are actually on the Rag Marg or Bhagavat Marg platform. They participate in 5 basic rasas: Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, Madhurya, and Shanta. But although these 5 rasas are found in the Bhagavat Marg is especially meant for Vatsalya and Madhurya, or parental and conjugal relationships. Yet there is the Vipralambha Sakya, the higher fraternal worship of the Lord, especially enjoyed by the cowherd boys. Although there is friendship between Krishna and the cowherd boys, this friendship is different from the Aishwarya friendship between Krishna and Arjuna. When Arjuna saw the Vishwarup, the gigantic universal form of the Lord, he was afraid for having treated Krishna as an ordinary friend. Therefore he begged Krishna's pardon. However, the cowherd boys, who are friends of Krishna in Vrindavan, sometimes ride on the shoulders of Krishna. They treat Krishna equally, just as they treat one another, and they are never afraid of him, nor do they ever beg his pardon. Thus the Rag Marg, or Bhagavat Marg, friendship exists on a higher platform with Krishna, namely the platform of Vipralambha friendship. Parental friendship, paternal service, and conjugal service are visible in the Vrindavan Rag Marg relationships. Without serving Krishna according to the Vidhi Marg, regulative principles of the Pancharatric Vidhi, unscrupulous persons want to jump immediately to the Rag Marg principles. Such persons are called Sahajya. They are also demons who enjoy depicting Krishna and his pastimes with the gopis, taking advantage of Krishna by their licentious character. These demons who print books and write lyrics on the Rag Marg principles are surely on their way to hell. Unfortunately, they lead others down with them. Devotees in Krishna consciousness should be very careful to avoid such demons. One should strictly follow the Vidhi Marg, regulative principles in the worship of Lakshmi Narayan, although the Lord is present in the temple as Radha Krishna. Radha Krishna includes Lakshmi Narayan. Therefore, when one worships the Lord according to the regulative principles, the Lord accepts the service and the role of Lakshmi Narayan. And the Nectar of Devotion, full instructions are given about the Vidhi Marg worship of Radha Krishna, or Lakshmi Narayan. Although there are 64 kinds of offenses one can commit in Vidhi Marg worship, in Rag Marg worship there is no consideration of such offenses, because the devotees on that platform are very much elevated, and there is no question of offense. But if we do not follow the regulative principles on the Vidhi Marg platform and keep our eyes trained to spot offenses, we will not make progress. In his description of Krishna's beauty, Lord Shiva uses the words Charvayata Chatur Bahu Sujata Ruchiranam, indicating the beautiful 4-armed form of Narayan or Vishnu. Those who worship Lord Krishna describe him as Sujata Ruchiranam. In the Vishnu Tattva, there are hundreds and thousands and millions of forms of the Supreme Lord. But all of these forms, the form of Krishna is the most beautiful. Thus, for those who worship Krishna, the word Sujata Ruchiranam is used. The 4 arms of Lord Vishnu have different purposes. The hands holding a lotus flower and conch shell are meant for devotees, whereas the other 2 hands, holding a disc, mace, or club, is meant for the demons. Actually, all of the Lord's arms are auspicious, whether they are holding conch shells and flowers, or clubs and discs. The demons killed by Lord Vishnu's chakra disc and club are elevated to the spiritual world, just like the devotees who are protected by the hands holding the lotus flower and conch shell. However, the demons who are elevated to the spiritual world are situated in the impersonal Brahman effulgence, whereas the devotees are allowed to enter into the Vaikuntha planets. Those who are devotees of Lord Krishna are immediately elevated to the Goloka Vrindavan planet. The Lord's beauty is compared to rainfall because when the rain falls in the rainy season, it becomes more and more pleasing to the people. After the scorching heat of the summer season, the people enjoy the rainy season very much. Indeed, they even come out of their doors in the villages and enjoy the rainfall directly. Thus the Lord's bodily features are compared to the clouds of the rainy season. The devotees enjoy the Lord's beauty because it is a collection of all kinds of beauties. Therefore, the word Sarva Sundarya Sangraham is used. No one can say that the body of the Lord is one. Okay, am I back? Let me try refreshing my screen. Is it working now? I'm gonna try refreshing my screen. Let's see. Okay. Wow, everybody's still there. Great. All right, the power went out and I had problems with my phone just now, so that's why